Hello students, I am Dr. K. Sarojini Chakravarti, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Botany, Government Degree College, Khairtabad. In the last class, we have seen one of the plant succession, that is hydrozoa. So what is hydrozoa? If the plant succession starts from a aquatic habitat, a shallow lake or a pond, and if you see a development of a forest from that aquatic environment is known as hydrozoa. In this class, we are going to see xerosphere. What is xerosphere? Xeric plant succession or xerosphere is nothing but if the plant succession starts from an orderly way from a bare rock area, surface area is known as xerosphere. So, xeric succession commonly occurs on a bare rock surfaces, that is lithosphere, resulting from glaciation or from erosion by wind and water. The rocky habitat, it shows many xeric drought conditions as the rock is directly exposed to sun and the temperature of rock surface also goes very high. There is no availability of water and nutrients holding device on the exposed smooth surface of rock. In such xeric habitat, only those plants can survive which can resist these extreme drought environmental conditions. Like hydrosphere, even xerosphere, it completes its life, plant succession in an orderly way, including 7 stages. Each cell stage, it is being characterized by a particular type of plant community and the chemical reactions takes place in that community. The first stage of xerosphere is crustose lichen stage, followed by foliose lichen stage. Third one is moss stage. Next is herb stage. Next is shrub stage. Sixth one is xerophytic tree stage. And the last is forest stage. We'll see each stage in detail. The first one is crustose lichen stage. The pioneer colonizers on the bare rock area are crustose lichens, which occur on the rock surface in the form of membranous crust. Examples of crustose lichens are Rhizocarpus, Lasidia, etc. These lichens, they grow only when water becomes available in the habitat. In the dry area or periods, the pioneers, that is crustose lichens, they appear to be desiccated. This desiccation means water loss. But they are not dead, they are alive. Their spongy nature enables them to absorb excess amount of water and minerals. These lichens, they migrate through their spores and soredia, and their migration is facilitated by wind and water. The lichens, they secrete carbonic acid in excess. So the carbonic acid is formed when excess carbon dioxide is liberated in respiration, through respiration, and which combines with water. So carbon dioxide which is liberated through respiration, it combines with water, resulting in the formation of carbonic acid. So this is the chemical reaction which occurs. So the carbonic acid, it reacts with the rocky materials and it loosens the rock particles. So the rock surface area, now it has formed a thin layer because of decaying lichens and corroded rock particles makes the formation of a thin layer of soil on the rock surface. The nitrogenous compounds formed from the atmospheric gases during the lighting are brought to the soil in the form of rains. Now the habitat, it is now less fit for the existing crustose lichens, and consequently the primary colonizers, they become to disappear and the next settler stage starts appearing. So this is the example of crustose lichens where you can see they are attached to the substrate of rock surface area, bare rock surface area. Because of their chemical reaction and corrosion done by these crustose lichens while forming a carbonic acid, it loosens the rock surface area, forming a soil particles. Now because of this, as a rocky area is it's not existing, and soil particles are coming into existence. Now crustose lichens, they can't survive in this habitat. Now it leads to the second stage, that is foliose lichen stage. After accumulation of soil and humus on the rock surface area, now crustose lichens are occupied by the next stage, that is foliose lichens. So these are the foliose lichens and fruticose lichens. Examples are Dermatocarpon, Parmelia, Umbilicaria, etc. So these lichens, they have delicate leaf-like thalli which covers the rocks and it overshadows the pre-existing crustose lichens. When the supply of water is cut off, the crustose lichens, they begin to die. Now foliose lichens, they absorb and accumulate water and minerals and they check evaporation of water surface. They also secrete carbonic acid which further pulverizes or loosens the rocks into small soil particles. With this, the water retaining capacity of the habitat increases with the further accumulation of soil particles and humans. Now gradually these conditions they become less favorable for the existing foliose and fruticose lichens, and these conditions are favorable for the next sterile stage or the next vegetation or habitat. So this is the example of foliose lichens where you can see the thallus is leaf-like. That's why it is known as foliose lichens. Next stage is moss stage. When the habitat is changed, the existing foliose lichens, it disappears, and in that area, xerophytic mosses, they grow and they become dominant. So these plants usually grow in the crevices and depressions of the rocks where enough rock particles, humus and moisture are accumulated. Like lichens, mosses are also adapted to survive in these extreme drought conditions. The xerophytic mosses, they develop rhizoids which penetrate deep into the rocky soil. They cover the previous lichens and successfully compete with them for water and mineral nutrients. The decaying older parts of mosses, they form a thick mat-like structure over the rock surface area. As this mat, it becomes thicker and thicker, it increases the water holding capacity of soil. Thus, the habitat, it becomes relatively more wet. Now, because of this change in the environment from dry condition to wet condition, now the next sterile stage, it replaces the moss community. So in this picture, very clearly we can see the thick mat cover of moss. So because of this thick mat cover of moss on the rock surface area, now the habitat, now it is not dry. You can see it is become wet and it is green, lush green in color. So because of this change, now the vegetation slowly from drier environment to extreme drought conditions, now it is changing to relatively for mesophytic conditions. So now the next sterile stage from moss stage or from moss community, now we can see the next is herb vegetation. So this is herb stage. So when the soil increases in thickness, the herbaceous vegetation, which consists mainly of annual and perennial herbs, they occupy this habitat. Increased moisture content of the soil favors the growth of herbs. The roots of these plants, they penetrate down almost to the level of unpulverized rock, where they secrete acids and accelerate the process of rock disintegration. In this way, the thickness of soil on the rock surface, it increases to a considerable extent. Decaying leaves, stem, roots and other parts of the plants, it becomes deposited on the soil surface in the form of humus. This further increases the water holding capacity of the soil. Now, these reactions make the habitat more suitable for woody plants than to the existing herbs. So with this, now the plant community, is changed from herb stage to the next stage, that is shrub stage. The fifth stage is shrub stage. With the change of habitat, herbaceous vegetation it slowly disintegrates or degenerates, and in their place, xerophytic shrubs gradually occupy that area. The roots of shrubs also reach the surface of unpulverized rocks and corrode sufficient quantity of rock particles which make the soil more massive. So decaying leaves, twigs, and roots of these shrubs also enrich the soil with humus. These important reactions bring about such conditions in the habitat as are more suited to the trees rather than to shrubs and herbs. So with this, now the next sterile stage is occupied by xerophytic tree condition. The xerophytic trees now invade the area which has been occupied by shrubs. The first trees growing in such areas are dwarf and widely spaced. But with the increase in the water holding capacity of the soil, these trees gradually disappear and subsequently the mesophytic types will develop. So now you can see predominant tree stage in this area. After that, when there is an increase in the water holding capacity and in the soil, and there is increase in the enrichment of the soil with the humus, everything, now it enters into the last stage, that is the forest stage. The mesophytic trees are deeply rooted and the roots are profusely branched. Hence, they can absorb sufficient quantity of water and nutrients. These mesophytic trees, they grow densely and they become dominant. In the shade of mesophytic trees, some shade-loving herbs and shrubs are well adapted to humid atmosphere and in soil also appear, and they form their own communities. After a very long interval, when complete harmony develops between the plant communities and their environments, the climate stage established remains unchanged until and unless some major environmental changes disturbs it. So whatever forests we are seeing, they are developed not in a 1 day or 2 days. It has taken some thousands of years for them to be in this final stage, that is a forest stage. And until unless is there any major environmental changes, it may be intrusion of man or any fire, forest fires or anything happens, there will be the climax stage or the forest stage, whatever established, it remains constant and unchanged. But if man disturbs it, so there is a change in the stage of the climate, that is forest stage, and there is a change in the environment of the whatever current habitat is there. So like this, we should not disturb the environment and the ecosystem in which the present forest or grassland are existing, because it took almost some thousands of years for them to appear and to establish in this stage. And next, succession on the bare areas or rock surface areas, okay, is not always occurs not in the same way. Sometimes if the succession occurs starts with a bare rock, a sand and a gravels, so the succession or the colonizers will be, the beginning stages will be missing, and it starts with the herbs, shrubs, or even the trees as a initial colonizers on such a habitat. Succession of the sand dunes, it starts with drought resistant grasses. So the grass vegetation is followed by shrubs and trees. So the primary succession on open land may lead to grassland vegetation rather than a forest climax. So the grasslands on the earth or the planet earth, whatever grasslands we are seeing, the grasslands is because of primary succession on open land area. And from this grassland vegetation, next we can see the forest, the climax stage, that is forest. So maybe it is in the changes of vegetation of the plant community from one stage to another stage. So like this, depending on the where the succession is starting, it may be a bare rock area, or it may be it may be a sand dune, or it may be a rock sand or a gravel, or it may be an aquatic habitat, whatever it may be. Depending on the type of habitat, from one cereal stage to, or from one plant community to the second plant community to develop, it takes some thousands and hundreds of years. So that's why, whatever we should take care of our environment, we should take care of our ecosystem, and we should not disturb, we should not cause any kind of disturbance to the environment and the ecosystem. If they get disturbed, it will take some thousands and hundreds of years for them to get established and to form whatever vegetation which is right now it is existing. So that's why, as a as a man, as a human being, we should take care of our environment and ecosystem where it is giving everything. So the nature is giving everything, we should not disturb the nature. In the next class, we'll see, we'll go with another topic in ecology.